the West Bank and Gaza are already taken by Israel. In Israel today, there are not only the people that are kept apart, but the laws of the State of Israel, the policies of the State of Israel, the practices of the State of Israel are also intended to discriminate against people based on their religion, their ethnicity. This part of Palestine, the part that I mentioned to you earlier where the Israeli Arabs live, there are more than 40 laws on the books that discriminate between Jews and Palestinians. For example, a Palestinian, a Jew anywhere, any place in the world, has the right to return and to become a citizen of the State of Israel. A Palestinian, an Israeli Palestinian or Israeli Arab cannot bring a wife, even if he, let us say he married a Swiss wife. He cannot bring his wife to join him in Nazareth or Haifa or Jaffa. A Palestinian who was born in Haifa and as a result of the war in 1948 took refuge in Switzerland or Germany or the United States cannot come back and live where his ancestors lived. That's 40 laws, more than 40 laws that segregate and discriminate against people based on their religion and ethnicity. In the West Bank and Gaza, they are in the hundreds. I'm talking about laws, regulations that are in the hundreds that discriminate between people based on religion and ethnicity. For example, a Palestinian living in Jerusalem has a house in Jerusalem. That house could be declared illegal, destroyed, no compensation. In fact, most of the time, the family that lives in that house pays the cost for destroying their own house. But that cannot happen to a Jewish family. It will not happen to a Jewish family, and it shouldn't. Between you and I, no state, without proper cause, without a proper legal cause, should be able to destroy the home of any family without due process and without proper compensation. But in the case of the Palestinian, their home are destroyed, their land is destroyed. Most of the time they pay for the destruction of their own home in order to do what? To build homes for Jews. In Ramallah, in the West Bank, you can go from Ramallah to Jerusalem. Forget Jerusalem for a second. You cannot go from Ramallah to Nablus without going through military checkpoints. You are stopped at checkpoint, you are questioned at checkpoints, and your movement is at the leisure of the soldier who is manning the checkpoint. If that person is not in the mood to let you go through, you are in bad luck. You could go back, and you will not go through to Nablus. The road that takes you to Bethlehem from Jerusalem or from Ramallah, under normal circumstances, it should take you maximum 45 minutes. And most of the times, it takes you 4 hours to 6 hours to go from one place to the other. If you are a good Christian and you want to go to pray at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, you have to get a permit to enter Jerusalem. And if you are 50 and above, they might give you a permit. But if you are younger than 50, forget it. Remind you, Jerusalem is the capital of Palestine, is the center of our culture, of our commercial activities. By not allowing people to go to Jerusalem, what are you doing to Jerusalem? You are literally making it cease to be the capital of the state, making it cease to be the cultural capital center of the state, and making it cease to become the commercial center of the state. And what you are doing on top of that, you are killing the livelihood of the merchants of Jerusalem. You are eliminating their income. You are decreasing their standard of living, which what you are literally trying to do is telling them, you have no place here. If you want to live a normal life, go and conduct yourself business outside of Jerusalem. This is the indirect pressure that Israel is putting on the people of Jerusalem. What I'm trying to say, these are the kind of laws that the Palestinians are subjected to. And these practices have been labeled and recognized by not only Samir, not only by academicians, but also by human rights organizations everywhere. The United Nations, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, your own Red Cross, and other international organizations, and these are documented. And by the way, on the table in the back, there are samples of these discriminatory laws that I have not went into details about. Now, with all of this mess that I just mentioned to you, a lot of people will say it's a hopeless case. We should throw in the towel, surrender to the fact that we have a one apartheid state in Palestine, and just go home. By the way, I have been told that, it's hopeless. We really cannot do anything about it. We humans do not submit to this kind of argument that we cannot do anything about it. If we submit to these things, I think the human race would have ended a long time ago. We have to look at what we could do in order to rectify this injustice, what we can do in order to restore justice, not only for the Palestinians, but also for the Jews. How can a Jew, knowing the facts that I just mentioned to you, defend apartheid? How can a decent Jew, whether that person is in Switzerland or in the United States, knowing these facts, defend the practices, the laws, the policies of the State of Israel? No decent human being can do that. And maybe they could do it now, but in the age of technology, instant transfer of information, people know what's going on in Israel. And they are becoming more aware of what's going on. Maybe now they could tolerate it for another 5-10 years. But sooner or later down the road, there is an increased number of people who are becoming aware of what Israel is really about. As a result of that, we look at what when I say we, many Israeli Jews and many Palestinians have been for the last probably 10 or 15 years, reviving, and I'm saying reviving or revisiting, a concept that has been with us for more than 90 years. The idea of one democratic state in Palestine is not a new idea. It has been with us since the beginning of the last century, both advocated by Palestinians and by Jews. Ahad Ha'am, Buber, and others, and I am sure that I could refer you to the 1919, the 1920, to the first Syrian Congress, and later on to the 1929 with the resistance of the Palestinians to the British. All of them argued for a one democratic state. In fact, some of them predicted that what's going to happen later on is a continued conflict between the people of Palestine and the Israeli Jews. So for the last 10 years or so, many conferences took place in various parts of the world to revisit and revive the idea of establishing one democratic state. There are three basic initiatives that have come out from these conferences, and they are the Dallas Declaration that I was involved in, the Munich Declaration that I was involved in, and the Munich Declaration, the conference took place almost a year ago, and then a very serious one that was based on the Dallas Declaration, and that is the London Initiative. The London Initiative is literally a blueprint of a constitution for the one democratic state. The Munich Declaration are the 10 principal points that are shared by the various conferences and the various initiatives. So these are the summary of what has been taking place for the last 10, 15 years. And I am tonight going to go over these 10 points step by step with you, so we will understand what the one democratic state